how voice production works and why it is important for teachers to know about this. We may not always be aware, but how we speak affects the listener emotionally and how they respond to it. Just think about the difference between hearing "sit down" and "sit down." Research shows that harsh sounding voices can lead to stress-like responses from the listener. As teachers, we use our voice all day long, and it is important that we are aware of the effects it can have on listeners, as well as taking care of it by speaking in a way that doesn't strain our voice. Thus, it is important that we understand how voice production works. It is a complex interplay of different systems, including our respiratory or breathing, phonation or sounding, and articulation systems. Here, you can see how our vocal organs are configured within our mouth and throat. Just say something and you'll realize that the tongue rises and falls rapidly while you speak. Our lips open and close, and the soft palate rises towards the back of the throat. All this complex endeavor is coordinated by our brain. When we speak about how high or low our voice sounds, we talk about the perceived pitch level. Men and women have different pitch ranges because their vocal tracts and their vocal folds differ in length. Men's vocal folds vibrate slowly, making them sound lower compared to women. In addition to varying our pitch, we can also modify how loud we speak by increasing our breath intake and opening our mouth widely to help us project. When we breathe out, air is expelled through the voice box, or larynx, which house our vocal folds. The air passes through the vocal folds before reaching the pharynx, that is the tongue, nasal cavities, and lips. This leads to air molecules vibrating in different ways, producing varied sounds. Once the airstream enters the pharynx, we can refine the sound by adopting different shapes. Just think of producing an O sound in your phonics class versus an sound, or B versus P, or G versus A. The pharynx can also be modified depending on where your tongue or teeth are. Just compare thin versus U. Many don't know this, but it takes more than 100 muscles to produce speech. Our natural speaking voice requires us to breathe with little muscular effort so that we can have good phonation and resonance. We can't speak properly when we breathe in. Just think about what you sound like when you're running. Also, if we breathe in a shallow way, we inhibit the ability to control our outgoing breath, thereby the production of our natural voice. Deep breathing is supported by the diaphragm. It helps to reduce the breathing rate and oxygen demand, leading to you putting in less effort and energy. To learn the diaphragm breathing technique, you need to sit comfortably, with knees bent, shoulders, head, and neck relaxed. Place one hand on your upper chest and the other below your rib cage. Breathe in slowly through your nose so that your stomach moves against your hand. The hand on your chest should remain still. Mastering your breathing technique makes delivering long stretches of teaching easier, though it is not the only thing that matters. We can alter the meaning of a sentence or word just by changing the way we speak. Think of the comparison between record and record. We can have very different voice cues such as pitch and loudness so that the listener can either hear us clearly, feel that we're shouting, or whispering. Ideally, we find our so-called centered neutral voice, which lies within the range of the pitch we can produce. You can try to find your neutral note by humming, pretending you are answering someone on the phone. Don't be afraid to vary your pitch. You want to avoid sounding monotone. It makes others want to fall asleep. Finally, we can also change our tempo. It can create interest, but remember that speaking too fast can be a problem for our listener. They need to put more effort into retaining information. To get an effective teaching voice, warm up, so stretch, hum, reduce background noise, stand or sit upright, breathe deeply, increase breath when projecting, open mouth for clarity and volume, and drink plenty of water. Finally, research proves that while what we say is crucial, how we say it contributes to its effectiveness. There are two ways of speaking, One is in an encouraging or autonomy supportive voice that says that one can initiate action based on someone's own interests, curiosity, or because someone values doing so. The other is a controlling or pressuring voice, which is used when we try to force someone to action, often based on rewards and or recognition. It is suggested that controlling messages like, "You have to do this or else," may at times be more effective in the short term, but autonomy supportive messages like, "You may do this if you choose," appear to be more reliably effective in promoting behavioral engagement in the long term. Autonomy support is expressed less loudly and less harshly than controlling messages. Interestingly, it doesn't matter if one speaks in a high or low-pitched voice. It is the harshness of the voice that makes the difference.